Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the Digester. How are we doing, folks? Please subscribe. Buy me a coffee if you can. End of the month is approaching. And, or subscribe to my Substack or whatever it is. If you can support me in any way, please do. This one, I hope, won't get demonetised. Lately, they haven't. There's two that haven't been demonetised. So, But I'm going to start telling you when they do, so you know. Swain. Let's hope there's not going to be many that will be, with a bit of luck. So it won't turn out to be a major issue, which is great news for me. Now, so here we go. I want to talk to you about Iceland, not the bloody food store. Right, okay? There is a gentleman who is in my know and regard called Elder Isidore. Just missing the L, it'd be perfect with Elder Isidore. Like something like Lord of the Rings. Elder, how you doing? Right, so Elder Isidore, who I had an interview with Elder on his channel going back many months ago that was really interesting. But I want to talk to you about his legal challenge, which he's taking out against the National Museum of Iceland, and to appeal to you to help Elder if you can, which is what I think is a very important event and really needs a kick to get some cash going. But let me tell you a little bit about what it's about first. So, Watchdog for Rights of Same-Sex Attraction in Iceland. Samtökin 22 is the only organisation exclusively for lesbian, gay and bisexuals in Iceland. We operate as a watchdog for LGBT rights Iceland and argue that the inclusion of gender identity in law and society in general has a devastating effect on children, especially gender non-conforming children that often turn out to be homosexuals later in life. We emphasise that homosexuality is same-sex attraction and that female homosexuality excludes men and male homosexuality excludes women in this matter. Our goal is to protect the dignity and rights of all same-sex attractive people. Right, so this is the standard understanding here from Elder that we are not same-gender attracted. How many damn times do we have to say it? We are not same-gender attracted. Gender's got nothing to do with us. Right, gender identity, which doesn't exist, certainly hasn't. So it hasn't. There was a talk that was arranged by Elder and his team over at Samtökin 22, and they invited Professor Wintermute to talk about issues relating to human rights for lesbians and gay men in the wake of transgenderism. We also invited the lesbian artist Tonja Gevjon from Norway, I hope I've got that right, to talk about the situation for lesbian girls, women in Norway, where gender identity was included in the hate speech laws in 2020. As a result of the queer organisation actions, both the National Museum, a government institution, and subsequently also a private foundation, cancelled their agreement on housing the conference. So the National Queer Organisation in Iceland cancelled Elder's meeting with these people to discuss issues for same-sex attracted people, which obviously I have a vested interest in being such a person, right? So the queer organisation is funded by the Parliament. Sound familiar? And opinionates and preaches that children can be born with a gender identity incompatible with their actual physical body. So they're pushing this nonsense of transgenderism on children in Iceland. It's a small country, Elder, I believe, has been contacted by an ex-prime minister. He's having conversations with him about how we can move this forward and how they can help the children of Iceland, which is what this court case is really about. It's saying we need to be able to speak in order to help the children of Iceland. But that organisation, the queer organisation funded by the Parliament, they also defend irreversible and experimental medical intervention on gender non-conforming children and youth. And as those of us that have been in the fight for a while will know, that means gays and lesbians. At least 80%. The inclusion of gender identity in law has had a divisive effect in all countries where it has been introduced. Gender identity in law affects freedom of speech for children, youth, parents, gays, bisexuals, lesbians, medicine, academia, our common ground, and most of all, girls and women. As we know, the people paying the biggest price for this are girls. In Iceland, the National Queer Organisation attempts to control the debate on LGBT issues by silencing and inflicting traceable false accusations of others who disagree with their beliefs. We've seen this before. It's standard stuff, right? They want to come for you, especially if you're a gay man, they'll come for you with false allegations. Elder's a gay man, I'm a gay man. That's what usually happens. Is that kind of thing. You get false allegations. But they've made false allegations against Posey Parker. Other people have had false allegations made against them. J.K. Rowling. They're forever lying. We know it. Instead of participating in debates, the queer organisation are using their power, influence and employees to shut down any attempt to debate the consequences and actual conflicts the inclusion of gender identity in law and society has on society, and in particular kids, youth, homosexuals and women. So again, what Iceland is seeing is the old Stonewall tactic straight out of the Denton's document: no debate. Don't talk about it. Don't get involved in conversations about it. Because the minute they get involved in conversations about it, they can't make it stand up because it's such a ridiculous ideology. Remember that. The fact that homosexual women and men are exposed to this kind of damaging and abusive behaviour by a state-funded organisation in a Nordic country is devastating. But we have seen this before and recognise the manipulative behaviour and attack on same-sex attracted women and men. If young lesbians in 2023 use the word lesbian to describe their female homosexual orientation, they are often called hateful transphobes, and that they need to reorientate so they can learn to enjoy male genitals. Was it Nancy Kelly who said it, wasn't it? Nancy Kelly said we were all sexual racists. This is happening in Iceland as well. Okay? This is why we are launching a legal challenge against the National Museum of Iceland for breaking a contract with our organisation, participating and indulging in libelous activities against us, and effectively participating in destroying the event we had planned. State-funded organisations who use their position to shut down debate regarding lesbian, gays and bisexuals ought to be held accountable and be investigated for harassment and discrimination of lesbians, gays and bisexuals, and for denying lesbians, gays and bisexuals freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. We will have to exhaust all options in Iceland before proceeding to the European Court of Human Rights, but we will take this case there if need be. The principles in this case makes it necessary. Now, there's a gentleman here called Sigmundur, which is the former Prime Minister of Iceland, and when he was informed of the situation, he offered to facilitate the conference at the Centre Party's office. And due to this act, the conference could take place. But the damage had been done. People arrived at different venues at different times. The production of the event was not of the quality intended for it. It was ignored by most media, as they had also been targeted by activists, and ended up only having a quarter of the registered participants in attendance. Ladies and germs, we've seen this before. We've seen this in multiple instances, but this is happening in Iceland now, where they are rapidly going down this path, which is going to mean tremendous damage to children. I'm hoping that somebody big will pick this up and run with it further. So if anybody can give JK a tap on the shoulder, I'd be grateful. Or perhaps we can ask any of our people in the GC networks and in the TERF networks if they can spread the word far and wide for Elder, because this case needs to come to court. It needs to come to court so that Iceland can begin the process of eradicating gender identity from the harm it is causing to children, and particularly girls. So if you can help out in any way, please do subscribe, share, get this around your networks, share it from YouTube around your networks, and let's see if we can get some help for Elder to raise the initial funding to begin this fight for the heart of Iceland when it comes to whether or not they're going to continue with this transing the gay away, which is so prevalent at the moment. Thank you very much for listening. It's great to talk to you, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.